And this is also a very important matter. If you get sick right now and you require medical services in any public hospital, you won't get it because the members are on strike. However, with unexplained kidney failure and other health conditions surging in Ghana, it is crucial to watch what you eat and where you take that particular meal. Data from the Food and Drugs Authority, based on World Health Organization's projection, reveals that unsafe food causes over 200 diseases, leading to loss of over 33 million healthy lives every single year. There is more in this report.
What you eat could be killing you silently. The latest Food and Drug Authority (FDA) data indicate that consuming unsafe food results in the loss of 33 million healthy life years annually. In a speech read on her behalf at an event to mark World Food Safety Day, Chief Executive Officer of FDA, Dr. Delise Mimidaku, revealed that over 200 diseases are linked to unsafe food each year. Her deputy, Roderick Dadieje, spoke on her behalf.
WHO estimated that 33 million years of healthy lives are lost due to eating unsafe food globally each year. And this number is likely an underestimation. Over 200 diseases are caused by eating food contaminated with bacteria, viruses, parasites, and chemical substances such as heavy metals. This growing public health problem causes considerable socio-economic impact through strains of healthcare systems, lost productivity, and harming tourism and trade.
He further cautioned the public to avoid buying food from unlicensed vendors as the FDA intensifies efforts to improve food quality and safety.
For you also making a choice to buy from a vendor who is selling next to the gutter, that horrible gutter, that thing that we keep saying that the best wache is sold by the gutter. If you didn't purchase it, they will not have service and therefore they will move away. One of the things that we are doing currently, for example, is we are pushing the issue of progressive licensing scheme. On the food vendor side too, we are working with the local government. It is a scheme that is already underway where we have officers every day, countrywide, going around. Number one, they are giving education, they are sensitizing the street food vendors. We are telling them that, number one, you need to have a health certificate. And this is where it also concerns the whole of Ghanaians. You must also ask them, do they have the health certificate, number one. Number two, when you also go there, check and see whether they've got what we call the street food vendor permit. The street food vendor permit is something that they are supposed to stick. It has got a QR code on it. Don't patronize food from those who don't have it. It means that we don't know where their food is coming from. And then some of them too, they take forever in trying to come up. They think that there will be the tolerance. So now we are driving people off the market to ensure that the right thing is done. That is why I say food safety is everybody's business. Don't patronize it if it has not got the street food vendor permit, as well as you also ask them where is their health certificate. If they cannot produce that to you, that person is there selling illegally.
Some food vendors at the event, however, believe the FDA should focus on intensifying its monitoring to improve the country's food safety rather than just issuing certificates.
It doesn't mean that it cannot be done. It is more than visible to do. But do they even have the manpower or the resources to make sure that every cocoa seller or every wache cooker or seller, they have the people to certify them, if I should put it that way. If they have those resources, then voila, we won't even have to look out for. You already know where to.
I don't think it ensures any form of safety at all, because unless they do their regular checks, we are still at high risk. Because sometimes when you go and you see how they even handle the food, the cough, the way they handle themselves is very unhygienic. So until FDA steps in, me as an individual, the most I can do is report the person or report them to emergency food safety, yada yada and so on.
This year's World Food Safety Day themed Food Safety, Prepare for the Unexpected also highlighted the devastating impact of unsafe food on children. For Joy News, Carlos Caloni, Accra.
So the thing about eating food that is unwholesome is that you are buying disease into your body, and you might have to spend more money to treat it. Now, I've heard so many things, including the fact that this week I saw on social media somebody claiming that some people actually use formalin that is used to preserve dead bodies in the preparation of tilapia. How far this is true, I don't know. But joining us in the studio is Roderick Daddy Ajay, Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So, I mean, the statistics that we brought earlier suggest that over 33 million people die every year across the world from food-related diseases. I don't know if you can narrow it down to Ghana, if you have statistics that suggest that, I mean, let's own it in terms of Ghana. Is there statistics that look at how many people may have suffered death as a result of eating unwholesome food?
Yes, we have some statistics, but you cannot say it is whole, in the sense that there are different reports. One of the things that we are doing right now is to get the hospitals to do the necessary reports that they have to do. And it's all something got to do with education. But from what we've been able to gather over time, it's something of concern.
Right.
And it's sad that there is a lot that goes without it being captured properly. And so you are not able to tell exactly how much it is. But whatever it is, you notice that it's something that is not conducive for the country.
Absolutely.
And we need to do that. I think recently you may have heard of some issues concerned, even recently, there's an investigation that we are undertaking right now in the central region about a school. Some children went to buy some food, and you know, we together with Ministry of Health, the disease control, going over there to look at what is happening. And so it's harming us one way or the other, just that we have to look for a proper way of capturing the data to know the full effect. Yes, what we have is the worldwide, which many, should I say, developing countries put together and use as an indice.
All right, so also joining us via Zoom this afternoon is food safety advocate Louise Akwete. Louise, good afternoon and welcome. If you can, you need to unmute for me, Louise, so we can hear you. Yes. All right, so Louise will have to fix the audio so we can hear you. So we'll get a rectifier and then, but still in the studio. Louise, good afternoon, if you can hear me.
Good afternoon, General.
Right, of course. So you're also welcome to the discussion. We are looking at food safety and the other matters. I just asked the Deputy CEO of the Food and Drugs Authority, who's here in the studio, his preliminary comments. I don't know what your preliminary comments will be in terms of the food we consume in Ghana, the food we buy from outside, how safe they are. Let me pick your initial thoughts on this.
Thank you. I would say the 99.9% of the food we eat in Ghana is not safe.
99.9%.
Yes, 99.9%.
That is like 100%. So 99.9 means that every food we are buying from outside is not safe.
Yes, it's not safe. Simply because every corner you go in this country, every food that's being prepared in Ghana, there's a MSG in the food, which is not safe for our health.
And Louis, this is based on what?
Based on what I've experienced on the field.
So this is your own analysis?
Yes.
All right, I'll come back to Yeah, please go on. Yes, go on, please.
Yes, every woman cook with the MSG in Ghana. Yes, and then also the kind of food that they cook, every woman wants to add an additive to the food, which is a food enhancement. And then with that, we have so many sickness. Earlier on, I heard someone saying something like you're having a heart problem or numbness or something like that at the Legma Hospital or one of the hospitals. It's real. It's happening live.
Are you?
In Ghana,
Yes, Louise, are you able to tell us what some of the things that they put in the food that are not good for human consumption?
Exactly. MSG is one, and the saltpeter is one.
What is MSG?
And MSG, monosodium glutamate.
Mm-hmm. And if
monosodium glutamate.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please go on.
The side effect on the human body gives headache, flushing, sweating, and a face pressure or tightening. And then also quick. Sometimes you find it so difficult to breathe, and even sometimes you'll feel a heartbeat, serious one, especially when you take the ice kenke that you put in the bottle. You find it so difficult when the food is about to ferment, when it's a fermentation stage. You find it so difficult to breathe. And then also, in addition to that, like kenke, the normal kenke that they cook, they put saltpeter on it to soften the kenke. So when if you're not lucky enough, you buy that kenke and you eat, you are putting yourself into trouble, which is very, very difficult.
All right, Louis, I'll let you hold on there, and I'll come back to ask you about where you put the blame. Is it regulatory failure, or people have just taken advantage of the fact that there's little monitoring on what they do? That's how come there is so much, if you like, in terms of your statistics. But let me put that question to Mr. Roderick.
Yes.
Is it possible that 99% of the food we consume outside, that is by the roadside, are unwholesome?
It's a definite no. It's a definite no. And I would want to take this opportunity to also do some education over here. A lot of the things that Louise has spoken about, I think we may have to do a little bit of homework as it is. You know, food is food. Food has that basic function of being something that you take in to get nutrients, to help with proper growth, to keep you. It provides energy. It provides proteins, and that will help you in growing. It will provide carbohydrates, gives you energy. It provides the oil, that's also for energy. And it goes all the way around. That's why we talk about a balanced diet. But one of the things that must also come to light, that when we are talking about food, food in itself, through handling practices, you may inadvertently, intentionally or inadvertently get certain things that shouldn't be there. There are three of them. We call the physical hazard, the chemical hazard, and biological hazard. We talk about physical hazard, we are talking about something like getting glass, you know, something that is structural in nature, which can hurt you. So if you have a piece of pin or metal in your food, it would harm you. You know, if you take it.
That you may not know.
That you may not know, it may harm you. If you were to, for example, spray, these people who do treatment in terms of chemicals, pesticides, for example, if you put it there, you don't wait for the withdrawal period to happen, you bring it on the market, people take it, you can also have, that's a chemical hazard. And 70% of the problem with terms of food hazards, what we call food hazards, is the third one. That's what commonly people will say germs. So there are different forms of germs that, you don't wash your hands properly. I mean, you go to the toilet, you don't wash your hands properly, you can introduce a date over there, sweat, you know, and so many forms. That's why we say food handlers should wash, should take a bath and all of that, put on neat clothing. In fact, we call it protective clothing. We say protective clothing because the clothing is actually a barrier between you, the human body, and the food product. So that's why when you are preparing food, we say cover your hair, because you could have a piece of your hair falling. And so these are preventive steps to take. So these three things, the physical, the chemical, and biological hazards, are the ones that can harm you. In fact, a place like the US, they have even gone ahead. When you talk about the chemical, now they are even now talking about allergens. Allergens are captured also in ours, but they have separated it, and because of that, they've done what we call FISMA. It's another law that they have done. But they are all concepts that you can rope into us, and we also are using. So what he has said basically means that anybody who buys any food along the side of the street
is in danger.
It's in danger. But I mean, you bear witness. At least now, and that is the issue that we raised at this year's food safety. Yesterday was when FDA, together with partners like the WHO, the FAO, the WFP, we had a meeting. It was chaired by Ministry of Health. And we were talking about food safety. It was a day that we had set aside. It was 7th June, but we celebrated it actually yesterday. And there, right now at La Palm, we have people from industry. We are training, taking them through some of these things to identify what hazards and things are. So, and as one of the things that we said was also the issue, our concern for our markets. You see the way people handle food. We are saying that now almost everybody, now in Ghana, almost everybody takes a meal outside the home. That makes street food very, very important. And so you need to watch what you eat. You need, and we say food safety is everybody's business. So we are throwing our hands, inviting the public, as we have always done, that they need to also look out for certain signs. The Food and Drugs Authority is there to protect you. We have what we call the food safety policy that now enjoins the Food and Drugs Authority.
We'll come back to that, but a few questions that I just want to highlight so that we'll take the discussion one after the other. So you are dismissing the 99.9% that Louis just put out, that food sold outside are simply unwholesome.
I am educating. It's one of the things that we do. We educate, and see, it's a scientific world. Information comes in. Definitely, Louis will have to look at.
Of course, I'll go back to him very soon.
Louis is saying certain things, and some of the things that he's saying in terms of like the use of MSG. MSG is a product, monosodium glutamate. It's a product that is registered by the Food and Drugs Authority. If it was not safe, we would not
have approved.
But what we are saying is that it's a food additive, just like salt is a food additive. So you have to watch how you use it. It is you who decide how much salt you want to put in your food. Likewise, it is you who decide how much oil you want to put on your food. When you go to the chop bar or you go to anywhere to eat, it is you who decides that, fine, I want so much oil on it or I want little. That is where we are now talking about issues that you also need to watch your nutrition. So the Food and Drugs Authority has got a research department and also nutrition that handles these things. And we are saying that if there is something of concern, please inform us. We've got a consumer alert that you inform us, and then we'll take a look at it. And we need the public to support us. And that is a call that yesterday we did.
Let me get a quick reaction from Louis. So you heard the Deputy CEO of the Food and Drugs Authority, Mr. Daddy Ajay. What's your reaction to what he just put out?
Yes, it is good that he actually accepted and then also identify a few things that I think that will help all of us move forward. Now, let me start from the farm where they have sourced the food stuff from. First of all, when it is raining here in Ghana, what I've realized that when it is raining here in Ghana, people actually open their sockaway, like from the house, to with the rainwater, then the water probably run through the gutter to the last point. When the water was stand at one place, then those farmers, they use that water to water their cabbage and carrot and those things. And then I believe you will tell me for the fact that when that happens, it gives a typhoid and everything. And even with that, our market is not really properly built in a way that the food handling in the market alone is also a whole problem on its own. And then when that happens, trust me, there's a likelihood that anybody who has come in contact with that particular food, let's say one cabbage, which is being contaminated from the farm to the market, from the market to the house, to each and every household, there's likely that everybody will be contaminated with typhoid with that. You understand?
Right, I do.
Now,
right. So clearly there are issues that we need to deal with. Now, let's come. I mean, some time back, you told people who are into selling food by the roadside to publish or display their health certificate, so that if I'm buying from this person, I know that he's gone through the right process, and whatever he's putting out there is awesome. That exercise. These days, some of the places I go, I don't see those certificates.
You are right. And in fact, that was also one of the calls that yesterday we brought up. Even as I'm talking to you right now, there's even the drive between Food and Drugs Authority and local government, because we operate the food safety policy and joined by other state institutions. And one of the things is that we want to get our hands dirty. We go down, we want to be able to teach. So the Food and Drugs Authority has got what we call the Industrial Support Service. Even as I'm speaking to you right now, they are giving all of what you call right now at La Palm Beach, there's some work that is going on right now. Exactly. It's all part of the Food Safety Week as we are celebrating. So tomorrow we are meeting, and we are hoping that we can get the media even to be there. To do that. Because we want people to know that the Food and Drugs Authority has got a friendly face that wants to help people to do the right thing. Sometimes the ignorance is really big.
Because the point that, there's also somebody can tomorrow just speak to a landlord, and then the person is given space in front of the house.
Yes.
The next thing you see, the person has set up a small table and is selling gobe or anything.
Yes.
And then, so are you saying that anybody at all can just set up a food joint and then start selling?
And that is why the food safety policy is trying now making things easy. If people want to go into business, we want to assist. The assisting here is that you should know where to go and have your health certificate done. So we expect that you go to the closest district what do you call it?
The health.
Yes, and go and do. I even know somebody who yesterday had the blood taken, and then it was an instantaneous thing. It was determined, and the card was given to the person. The person pays for it. So you have now your health card. Then, if you also now want to cook, the FDA has to see the place, and that is the certificate that we are talking about. And we are hoping to get the buy-in of the public, that when you also go and buy, there's a QR code on it. You are supposed to ask if it's a kinky seller, if it is a gobe seller, no matter who it is. We want to make it easy for people to come in because it's good for business, and then at the same time, it must be safe. You are the ones, the public, your consumers, myself, we are the ones who are supposed to check
and be sure that this person has gone through the right process.
That's why we say food safety is everybody's business. And we are hoping that we can also get the advocate to also
part of this exercise.
So that people will know that they can get training from the FDA, they can get it also because it's countrywide as it is. You can get it, and then we are working with sister agencies. Local government too will not just allow you. What we saw, for example, I'll give an example. And people in Carnation Market should not take it on the wrong thing. Some of the things that are being done, you say ice kenke. Remember, this is food. You are mashing the kenke in this equipment, and it's terrible. Some of the things that we saw. If I had known earlier, I would have brought you this video for you to let the public see. And we think that, no, this is wrong, but we need to correct them. What is the source of water that they are using? Why are you doing
this?
The
kenke.
Exactly. Why are you doing it in the open? Do you have your health certificate? Is the place conducive enough for that exercise? That is why, according to Section 130 and 131 of the Public Health Act, you are supposed to have a license to do that.
And did they have?
And they didn't have. Yes, and that is why we are saying that we are calling them. Please, if you don't know, let us bring you in. It is not every time you want to go in with a hard stick of saying that you are going to correct. You also need to teach people.
But ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yes,
those who are flouting the law, is there any punishment under this regime?
Oh yes, there are various levels that the chief executive can give you. At times, we may want to call in, because if you look at the scale of it, the ignorance may be big. This is the World Food Safety Day. We want to throw out a hand. We want people to know that we can assist, and we would rather want to do it that way. We want people to work with us. It is not always the best that you go with the rod, but when we have to come down and hard. I think you have heard us on air.
Of course.
When we've done what is necessary to bring people do the right thing. So in trying to correct somebody, it comes in different forms. That is all that we are saying.
Okay. Let me bring in Louis now. So Louis, you've been out and about, Europe, America, Africa. I mean, the Ghanaian experience, and in terms of how the laws are enforced in some of the countries that you've been, because consuming something that will give me a negative reaction, and then for me to spend so much money to treat myself, sometimes I may not be able to treat it. Sometimes I may die in the process. It's something that we should take it very seriously. The Ghanaian situation, is it deteriorating, improving? You heard the FDA Deputy CEO about what they are doing to make sure people act right. How would you describe the Ghanaian situation as compared to the other countries that you've been?
Ghanaian situation, to be honest, the system, the leaders must decentralize. They have to get a decentralized process, way that this thing can be managed and it can be managed well. It can be done. And it can be done in a way that everybody will be safe in a country. I can, an instance where a house close to my place, a house, they're producing pure water there, sachet water. And you see FDA, this thing on it, a code, and then a Ghana standard code on it. But when you call, even when you call,
I think connection issues there with Louis. We'll try and re-establish connection with him so he can address some of these issues. Yes.
And I would want to, I
think he's back. If we can just allow him to conclude on that point. Louis, please go on.
Yes. A place where they are producing pure water, such a
I think the connection is again not stable.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I realized.
I think we'll have to disconnect and connect again to see if we can get a better connection to Louis so that he can make his point very clear. Louis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yes, please go on. All right, so those are challenges we'll have to deal with every day.
Yeah, so with what Louis is saying, if anybody sees anything that is happening out there, and you have cause to believe that the wrong thing is being done, we are actually, the FDA is actually depending on the public
to provide information.
Let us know.
Because we are not everywhere.
We are not everywhere.
We don't have the personnel to monitor every single joint.
And so that is the reason why we're saying that we are collaborating with our sister institutions. Because you see that environmental health, for example, they go all the way to the district. FDA may be regional. And they work hand in hand. So these are some of the things that we are talking about. That, remember, we all serve the same country. So why can't we put our hands together and be able to do it? And that's why we're also depending on Louise and others. If you see something that is not right, let us know. Then, for example, the sachet water, as he's talking about, just look at it. When you look at it, you'll see the product registration number. You can go easily to our website to check whether that product is registered or not. And even if it is registered, it's not like a guarantee for the ways somebody may be handling it. I think if you look at the video that you showed beginning, some of the people who were participants were thinking that, giving a license or giving a certificate is not enough. They are right. What we say is that it is rather partnering with them. When we are partners, it means that we are not like one is above the other. We are saying, come, if you see, just like how you say security, if you see something strange, say something. If you see something going on, tell the nearest FDA office. We have our Twitter numbers. We are on WhatsApp. Tell us. We take it seriously, and we will follow up.
So the other matter. So this program is not only targeting those who are selling by the roadside.
No.
It extends to restaurants, because I remember that some time back, a restaurant at Osu was closed down because the kitchen was found to be, the state of things was absolutely nothing to write home about.
Exactly.
So it's not just about those who are selling by the roadside.
No. And
everybody who sells food for commercial purposes.
Getting over 50 people sick going to the hospital, we followed up and we dealt with them. We made sure that before they reopened, they had gone through training. our chief executive made sure they got the training that they needed, whatever punishment or something that they got it, and it was not easy for them. But I can tell you, the way they have improved over time, they themselves can bear witness. And from whatever happened at that time, in public administration, I am a public administration student. In public administration, wherever there's chaos, then comes reforms. So the reforms that we did was such that it was far-reaching for the whole country. And we are saying that if you are of a certain stature, a restaurant of a certain stature, then there's a certain structure we are expecting. You must have food safety officers on call 24 hours, because some of them are working around the clock. There's a certain structure you must have. There are certain things that they need to know. People, when they come in, they must have their handler's certificate. Then they must also be cleaning on the job. Sometimes, some of these things that happened back in the past, it was on Mother's Day. People were eagerly selling and then not looking out for the safety precautions that they were supposed to do. And that is what we want to let anybody out there right now know. If you're operating any place which is not licensed by the FDA, it is not known, and you are doing that, we are telling you, you need to move quickly and do what is happening. Because sometimes they are like mushrooms. They just come up. They don't have anything to do. They think that is where they want to go. But it's a regulated area, and we are depending on the public to assist us here.
I'll go to Louise, but when I come back, when I advertise that we're going to talk about food safety, I've got a lot of text messages. I'll share some with you. Some videos that some people sent to us about tilapia and formalin. I'll come to ask you whether this has come to your notice. But Louise, I'm glad now we'll have a stable connection to you. So you've heard the FDA. They are bent on ensuring food safety on our streets and in our restaurants. Does this satisfy your concerns?
Yeah, that's okay. But we need more education, public education on that. With the public education, that will help all of us to actually scrutinize the whole system, sensitize the whole system, so that at least everybody will be safe in a system in Ghana. At least everybody will be safe.
Right. We'll come to wrap up with you on that. But Mr. J, a few issues. So I've got a video, but this video has been on social media for some time, especially on Facebook. Some people claiming that some use formalin, which is used to preserve dead bodies, in the preparation of tilapia, for example. I don't know whether this has come to your notice. There's also the issue of some chop bar operators sometimes using flour in the soup they prepare so that they can get the quantity that they want and the thickness that they want. So you think that you are eating a very, wholesome soup, but you don't know what is really...
Was it nice?
I don't know. So these are some of the things that have come up.
Yes.
Let's start with the tilapia and the use of formalin. Has this come to your notice?
Yes, thank you very much. The issue of formalin being used to preserve fish is over 3 years ago that we ourselves, countrywide, picked samples and checked to see the veracity of it. We did come across one case like that. So it was not like a widespread thing. Yes, and that is the thing with the food industry. People may use certain practices. That's why we have good manufacturing practices and bad manufacturing practices. And with such information, then if we notice that at a certain point, if that's where the risk is coming, we talk about risk management, then it means that is where we look and that is where we home in, and we want to know the reasons why that type of fraud is going on. Because it doesn't even make sense. If you're talking about formalin, it's very, very expensive. For you to have enough to be able to say you are applying it, while there are local methods where people could easily salt fish and then dry them in a hygienic manner, why would somebody resort to that? But you may come across such things, but we'll say that it's not widespread, because the last work we did on it, it was not like that.
Only one person you identified.
It was, yes, and it was, just for one market, that was somewhere at Abraka.
And what happened to that person?
We dealt with that person. We dealt with that person over that because we wanted to know where the supply was coming from. But it was kind of a dead end, as it is.
But what is the danger? What is the danger in consuming fish that has been preserved with formalin?
Yes, formalin is meant to preserve. It's not something that you are supposed to take in. So if some gets into your body, depending on the quantity, then you may have a kind of reaction. It could be toxic depending on the amount. But right now, as it is, it's something that is not widespread, and it's a whole chemistry that you can come across. So even the issue that our friend raised, the issue of monosodium glutamate, it's allowed, but then watch the quantity. It is just like sodium, salt, sodium chloride. The sodium really, it is something that can be implicated in coronary problems with the heart, that you want to be careful. That is why doctors would advise that try and bring your salt levels down. They are very, very important for us to look at. So food additives is a whole area. It is you who decide how much you are going to add. Exactly. But there are those that are permissible. In fact, even recently, something went on social media talking about sodium, was it bicarbonate? Yeah. And sodium ash also. And they are all used. He talked about saltpeter. People traditionally have been using it, with beans. And some, then we've had the MSG put in, KK. But this is the important thing. It is the right of the consumer to know what is there. So the soup we are talking about...
But they don't advertise the things that they put into the...
No, that's why I was asking, did you enjoy it? Because I remember when we were in school, a lot of the soup that was being done for us those days, there was a little bit of flour. It's a woman, and then how, how they...
You don't see anything wrong with that?
No, if the person is putting flour in soup, and is declaring it. It is when you don't declare it, or you know that this is not how it's supposed to be done, then it means that deception is coming in. Right. So it depends on the situation and how you look at it. But traditionally, you and I know that soup is soup. If I go and buy my groundnut soup and I'm with my fufu and I'm eating, I'm expecting that. I'm not expecting you to add something else. If you do anything like that, then that is trickery, that is deception, and that is not right. It may not be something that probably would kill you, but you want to make sure that you are transparent with the people that you deal with. So when you talk about food safety, adulteration, basically it is not allowed in our law. If you go to our law, adulteration is not allowed. So somebody is, you grind pepper, then they are adding pear.
Exactly, we've heard of that one.
That is illegal. That is wrong. You are trying to sell me, or sometimes even the chaff. The chaff from maize and the rest, they may try to add so that they get more of bulk. All those are deceptive practices, and the law forbids these things. Some of them, yes, it may not harm you, but you are buying an inferior product as it is. And we would want to sound a word of caution to the market, to people out there, that you need to deal straight with people. These practices are not allowed, and if the hands of the authority or the municipal authorities we get you, we will deal with you as the law allows us to.
Luis, let me ask your final question as I begin to wrap up with Mr. Ajay in the studio. So, will you advise that I hold my chest high and eat comfortably outside of my home, knowing very well that I'm eating very wholesome food here in Ghana?
To be honest, I would advise you, any food that you eat must come from home. You must prepare your food at home and then eat it at home. You are safe.
In the event that you are unable to do that, and your only resort is to buy from outside,
then you should be very careful. Extremely careful with the food you eat out.
Okay. So perhaps I can pick your last words as we wrap up this discussion.
Yes, I think since my father or my brother has actually talked about it, I think let's see. So far, I've not seen any of their guys in town. But then I will advise that the education must be more. Education must be more. We should see the guys on the street. They should print a T-shirt for them to be on each and every corner of this country. At least they should take it by region, so that people will get to know what is happening. And then when you go, they should be able to educate the people the safety of the food that they want to the food that they cook, and what is good and what is not good, so that at least the people know about it. Because when you come to the hospital, there is a lot which is going on. When you are out there, you wouldn't know what is going on at the various hospitals.
Well, again, the network, but Luis, you've made your point. Luis Akwete is a traveler, and he is more into food safety. So, Mr. Jed, as we begin to wrap up,
Yes.
He raised issues about not seeing a lot of your people out there, and I'm saying that it will be simply impossible to monitor every food joint. Then, therefore, you need millions of workers to do that. But you explain how you are collaborating with other sister organizations to enforce the laws around it. How is it going?
Yeah, so far so good. Still more room for improvement because sometimes it's an area of maybe somebody thinking you are taking over his or her territory as it is. But I think the buy-in is coming on more and more, and it's improving day by day. The collaboration is such that we have really broken down so many of the barriers.
Right.
And that is why you have like the FAO, you have USAID in the form of, we say, GTI, Ghana Trade Investment, assisting the Food and Drugs Authority. You have the Ministry of Health, our mother institution, also backing what we are doing. We are working with local government. We are working with Ghana Standards Authority. So it's a wide spread, of government agencies that are working together. And in the end, to have information that will be out there, the way things leave the shores of the country, the way things come in, for us to be able to do surveillance. If you permit me, I would want to also, the way Luis ended, when he said, be careful.
Right.
We'd also want to say the same way.
I was going to ask you whether I should be comfortably eating outside.
Yes, but there's a responsibility. Choose where you eat. If you see something that is untoward, please inform the nearest FDA officer. We are saying this also to the regions, that they also do the same thing. But at least check what you are eating. Please, and when you also go buy food, sometimes you see, you cannot blame only that street vendor. It's not like I'm defending
Perhaps where you may have procured the food from.
Yeah, where you bought the food, everything may be okay. But you bought the salad, you added the salad. It was you who went round 3 hours, 4 hours, you have not gotten home. Have you forgotten that one? So if something happens to that salad, is it the person who caused the problem? So let's always not be pointing the hands. We must know and be aware of how to handle food. Food must be kept at the right temperature. And that's why even FDA, just recently, we are working with Bolt, we are working with those who convey food. We are working with Ghana Parcels.
Delivery guys.
Yeah, delivery guys. Through Ghana Parcels and Korea, we are signing an MOU with them because it's of concern. A lot of us, as we even sit in the studio now, I'm sure you may have ordered food. Do you know how long it has stayed on the road?
Before getting to you.
Before getting to you. All of these things, there are protocols that we must observe. And so food safety is everybody's business. Let's all put our hands on the deck. FDA is there to support. We're working for your safety.
My final question before you take leave of us. Yesterday, you had the Supreme Court bring finality to this.
Praise the Lord. I said praise the Lord. And I want to thank the Supreme Court for what they have done. And we want to take this opportunity to let people know. And in the law, it says that well-known people. It's not that we have put our eyes on celebrities. In fact, we would rather that they should join us in what we are doing so that we'll be able to save our children. It's a national responsibility that we are undertaking. And we want them to know that it is not that we have our eyes only on them. If you go to the breastfeeding promotion regulation, that in itself is talking about doing exclusive breastfeeding.
For 6 months.
For 6 months. So we say that the companies that sell infant formula, we don't allow them to do advertisement. Have you seen any advert of an infant formula on this thing?
No.
So should they also say they are taking us to court? Because the LI, so whatever is happening, Dr. Dilizako, our chief executive, is working by the book. And we are grateful for what the courts have done. We are not saying that they should feel peeved off. That is
those who describe themselves.
But rather they should join hands with us so that we'll be able to work together and then make sure that alcohol doesn't bring us down. Alcohol is a very powerful chemical. You may take it for recreational purposes, but it also has its other side.
But again, you forward, there's a law which says that media houses cannot advertise alcoholic products before 8 p.m.
So you should also be pointing your fingers at
you only do so after 8 p.m.
Yes.
But here again, I'm watching a satellite television and I'm subscribing to it. I'm watching it at midday in the morning.
Yes.
And I see alcoholic products being advertised on these satellite televisions.
Those are, the issues. We are living in a technological world.
Right.
different things come up from time to time. We, for example, we're not envisaging the issue about people transporting, taking food around. But the way we are living our lives now, it has brought it in. So this is also a bridge that we have reached. We will need to cross it. We have had some discussions. There's even been some Ghanaians who have even had their products advertised outside. Of course,
and we see it on this satellite television I'm watching.
Exactly, and then we are going for, was one case that we had. We asked that person that the person's company is here in Ghana, and it falls under the purview of the Food and Drugs Authority, and by law we don't accept it. So wherever that advert is coming from, they need to go after it or take it. Otherwise, the Food and Drugs Authority will take them on. So anybody who is also having that kind of thing, that you think you go and do it outside and then you cross the boundary and then beam it into Ghana, please, you need to think again. Because Dr. Lizidako is really firm on the ground, and we want to make sure that what we are doing, we are having a fair playing field for everybody.
Thank you so much. And that is Mr. Roderick Dadia J, Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority. Now, there's a water warning. I want to give it to you before I take a short break. Now, according to the Ghana Meteo Agency, a weak to moderate rainstorm observed over the Gulf of Guinea is expected to propagate northwest to affect the coastal and inland areas, inducing cloudiness whilst producing thunderstorm with or without rain of varying intensity. And the thunderstorm are likely to be accompanied by weak to moderate winds. And if you are in the Greater Accra, so these are the areas to take action. The red, be prepared, be aware, low risks. Those are the colors that they put in them. So if you look at places like where we should take action, so Aflauho, Akachi, Adidome, Sogakope, you should be aware. Asistiwa Begro, Kufodu are there, so Ajin Kotoku, Oyarifa, Taifa, Teshi, Accra, Adan, Takrade, immediate environs, you should be aware that there could be rains. And of course, it goes on and on and on. This is a pause here on Joyce. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll look at other areas that are of interest to you this Thursday afternoon. Stay right there.